Okay, and now we are joined for our Thunder cover with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans, Darnell Mayberry, Oklahoma City Thunder beat writer. Darnell, I'm sure you're at the stadium. What's the atmosphere like already?
It's kind of a buzz in the arena already, and, people continue to file in, and they got blue and white T-shirts on every other section, so it should be a good atmosphere tonight.
In yesterday's paper, you wrote about this, and it was talking about controlling James Harden, and you wrote this, in half-court sets, Harden was 2 for 15, where he did the most of his damage was in transition. He was 4 of 4. Why in the half-court sets? Was it something that Oklahoma City was doing defensively to deter Harden, or was it Harden just having an off night?
I think it was more Oklahoma City. If you look at the 3 to 4 games, the Thunder's done a great job of making him play in a crowd and see multiple defenders, and they really limit his space on pick and rolls and ball screens, and when they do that, he really struggles to find space to get to the basket or even pull up for his jump shot. And the length and athleticism of the Thunder also makes it tough for him to create plays for others. They block his vision and make it real tough for him to find teammates in passing lanes. And the Thunder's just done an incredible job defensively against him this season. And obviously, I think a lot of that has to do with their familiarity with him, and then some to do with just the pressure that he's put on himself and the nerves that he has coming back here and playing against his old team and in his old arena. So if they can continue that, this should be a short series.
Darnell, with them knowing that, with the Rockets knowing that, what do you expect them to try and change? What's their strategy change going to be to combat that?
Well, Kevin McHale has said that he wants his team to move the ball more. They got him into some basically isolation basketball throughout game one. The Thunder switched a lot of the ball screens and just switched in general. It looked like as they were playing a zone at times, they were switching so much. So when that happened, Jeremy Lin would get Serge Ibaka in front of him, and instead of continuing to move the ball, he'd feel like he had to go one-on-one and take a big man off the dribble and make a play. So that's not what the Rockets want to do, and that's not how they excel. They're their best when they get everyone involved, move the ball, and get open shots from three-point range.
Darnell, tonight, if Kevin McHale, he goes small, he gets some of those smaller guys out there, shooters out there on the court, is Scott Brooks going to match that? Do you think we'll see less of Perkins and Ibaka together tonight?
I think it all depends. If Ibaka and Perks and Collis and those bigs can make the Rockets really pay in the rebounding game, then I think Scott Brooks will and probably should stick to it. If they can really just get their hands on a lot of rebounds and get putbacks and make them really struggle to close out possessions, then I think that will be an incredible advantage for the Thunder. That's something that we haven't really seen OKC do a lot this year, dictate the matchups, dictate the pace, and if they can do that against a Rockets team that, McHale just said 20 minutes ago that he plans on playing small. So that could be a huge advantage for the Thunder.
We saw Ibaka come out and step up to the challenge there in the playoffs to show his worth. You expect him to continue that good play through the series?
Hey, and by the way, I want to throw this out to you fellas. I thought it was garbage. I did not like Marc Gasol being the Defensive Player of the Year. I thought Serge Ibaka could have definitely warranted some recognition in that regard as well.
No kidding. I don't have a big gripe about it, but here's my thing. I've never looked at Marc Gasol defensively and said, wow, this guy is really impacting the game on that end. I've looked at him and I said, this guy's a fantastic passer. I've looked at him and said, man, he can shoot the ball. But I've never looked at him and said, this guy is really changing the game defensively. And it's not just about block shots or rebounds, things like that, stuff in the stat sheet. I just never seen it. So, there are several guys that are warranted consideration for it. I don't have a big gripe about it because I think he is a good defensive player. But, he wasn't my vote. I voted for LeBron, and there's certainly a number of guys that you could have made a case for.
Well, here's my thing. How do you give it to a guy who's not the best defender on his team? Wouldn't we agree Tony Allen's the best defender on Memphis?
Yeah,
that is a great point.
His perimeter defense is outstanding. And, listen, I like Ibaka. I think he's outstanding. And I think, again, I say this all the time, 23 years old. The guy is only 23 years old. He's still getting better. The ceiling is really high. And his help defense, we all know, is outstanding. The blocks, outstanding, helping off whenever guys penetrate into the lane right there at the rim. outstanding. I just want to see him develop on ball against Zach Randolph. You know, we had to bring in Collison. Collison played Zach Randolph unbelievable there in Memphis, but I need Ibaka to be able to do that. I need Ibaka to be able to lock down Blake Griffin. I need him to be able to play on-ball defense against the best power forwards in the league before I want to consider him as Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and I agree with that because Serge has struggled at times to guard those bigger, better power forwards, but he's also gotten a little bit better. If you go back to some of the games that the Thunder played against Dallas this year, Serge really stepped up and played Dirk extremely well this year. So if he can continue to do that, I think that's the next progression. But you're right. Serge did deserve some consideration, but he does still have some holes that he needs to get better at.
What's the key for this Thunder team tonight, Darnell, to play the defense they played the other night? Because, I think it was a combination of energy, tenacity. Serge Ibaka just had that look in his eye. A lot of these guys had that look in their eye. Like, you could tell this is the playoffs. This is a different level, and you saw it on the defensive end. You saw it with the 9 block shots, but you saw the steals. You saw him getting out in the open court. 15 turnovers led to 21 Thunder points, turning defense into offense. How do they continue to play that well tonight on the defensive end?
I think it's all mindset, and you guys know this playing at a high level in college, and the pros, excuse me. But the mindset of this team has to be come out and take care of business. I mean, they know that they're better than the Rockets, and frankly, this is a Rockets team that doesn't belong on the floor with them. And so all they really have to do is come out with the right mindset, come out and really focus on each possession and play, like they should play and like they're capable of playing, and they should be able to handle business. I mean, I credit some of what we saw in Game 1 to the emotions of the evening and Harden's first game here in the playoffs and that sort of thing. But tonight, I think is more of a mental hurdle than anything else. They need to just basically lock in and say, hey, this team doesn't belong on the floor with us. Let's go out here and take care of business.
Is this a defensive team? We hear Coach Brooks, say it all the time. We hear it in the huddles whenever they have him mic'd up. We hear him say it to the media all the time. But do the guys buy into that? Is this really a defensive-minded team?
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of a mixed bag, honestly. I mean, this team is the third highest scoring team in the league, and normally when they win by basically blowing out people and scoring more than them. There are some times when they lock in defensively and really buckle down and get stops. But, for the most part, I'd say out of 82 games, probably 60 of them are more offensive-oriented. So it's hard to make that sale and say this is a defensive team. But when they do play defense, boy, it's pretty.
It sure is pretty, and it's playoff time, and we have seen you got to play good defense in the playoffs. This is Thunder Cover with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans. Darnell Mayberry, Oklahoma City Thunder beat writer. He's in the house. He's in the peak. He says there's already a buzz. People continuing to file in. Big game coming up, 6 o'clock, Rockets and the Thunder. More to come for Thunder Cover. It's The Rush on the Sports Talk Network. Welcome back, ladies and gents. 18 minutes past the hour. It's hour number 4 on this Wednesday, April the 24th, down here in Pauls Valley. Teddy Lehman, Dusty Dvorak, your host, Drake Dykin, back in studio. We're at Seth Wadley Ford, Oklahoma's Ford Truck King, right here at I-35 and Exit 72. Short drive from wherever you may be, whether it's Ada, Davis, Sulphur, Tishomingo, get yourself down here. This is Oklahoma's Ford Truck King, the number 1 Ford F-Series dealer in the great state 3 years in a row. Over 300 trucks on the lot, ready to go. Be sure to check out the F-250 Super Duties, the big boys, up to $13,000 off MSRP, and they've got dozens in stock today right here at Seth Wadley Ford in Pauls Valley, I-35 and Exit 72.
This hour brought to you by the Riverwind Casino and Hotel, located just south of Norman off of Highway 9 and I-35. Every Thursday, you could haul home a truckload of cash and prizes. Random drawings will be held from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. for $8,000 in cash and prizes, including a grand prize drawing for $1,200 at 11 p.m. Starting at 8 a.m. on Thursdays, play any electronic game with your wild card, and you'll receive an entry with every 5 points earned.
Let's get back to Thunder cover with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans' Darnell Mayberry, Oklahoma City Thunder beat writer. He's in the peak already. Darnell, I want to turn the page real quick. Go back to last night if we could. Golden State Warriors, boy, they were shooting lights out, 64.6% from the field. They go into the Pepsi Center where the Nuggets are 38-3 on the year. They steal a victory on the road in blowout fashion. How surprising was that win with no David Lee last night for the Warriors?
It was extremely surprising. That was a big-time win by the Warriors. No David Lee on the road in a place, like you said, where the Nuggets are 38-3 on the season, 39-3 when you include the Game 1 win. So that was a huge win. I think they sort of rallied around Lee being out for the season. And when you lose a guy, a teammate like that who everyone respected and brought so much to that team, you sort of rally around that and try to come together and get one. And that's what they did. But they played a phenomenal game. They shot the lights out, and I think that's what helped them get that victory. My concern for the Nuggets at this point is now you've given the Warriors confidence. And now that they have confidence, how do you shut those guys off? Now they're going home. That place is a rowdy environment, one of the best environments in basketball, Oracle Arena. So the Nuggets got the work cut out now for them in Game 3.
Darnell, seeing what Golden State did last night, lighting it up from the perimeter, the Thunder guys watching that game, any reminders of the game whenever Houston came up into the peak and we're just lighting it up? James Harden, was he 7 of 8 for three-point line? Any worries about that recurring again tonight?
I think there's always a concern about the Rockets getting hot. And, I said that at the start of the series, that if they manage to get hot for one game or two, then you have to look out, because this is a team that can put up points in a hurry. And all of a sudden, one or two guys starts making shots, then it becomes a trickle-down effect. Everybody starts making shots. And so that's the thing that you really got to control with these guys. But I think, again, if they play the way they played in Game 1, they defend the three-point line and clog the paint, get back in transition. Those are the three biggest keys defensively. And if they do that, they should be in good shape.
Guys, that's kind of the thing, though, that may be a good thing, advantageous after a big win like that, a 29-point victory over this Rockets team. When you see that right there firsthand, right, when you know how good the Nuggets are at home, and you know that an inferior opponent who can get hot and shoot the lights out, what they can do to you going on the road, maybe that heightens the alertness for this Oklahoma City Thunder team, so they don't just look at this as a game that they're clearly going to win. Maybe this makes them raise their level a little bit watching Denver go down last night. Darnell, when teams shoot like that, when the Warriors like they were last night, when we've seen the Rockets at times this year, even the Thunder, is there any good defense for that? I mean, because, Denver's not a great defensive team, but some of those shots that they were making, didn't matter how good the defense was. They were just going in.
Right, and these are all great players. I think that's the thing that we all have to remember. They're in the NBA for a reason. So, when they get hot, it's really tough to stop them. They get in that zone, and, once they're in the zone, it's really tough to get them out of it. And there's not much you can do. A player just feels like, the basket is an ocean. You always hear about players talking about things like that. So, the Thunder's been in it, like you said. The Rockets have done it. But I think the key is, just coming out and setting a tone. If the Thunder can do that tonight, then I think you take away the Rockets' confidence and really just kind of step on their throats early.
Darnell, wanted to get your thoughts. The Sports Illustrated cover with Kevin Durant on there, it's got a really cool quote from him. It's got a picture of him shooting a free throw, and behind him there's this quote: "I've been second my whole life. I was the second best player in high school. I was the second pick in the draft. I've been second in the MVP voting 3 times. I came in second in the finals. I'm tired of being second. I'm done with it." What'd you think of that cover of Sports Illustrated?
I thought it was a cool cover. Now, I have to say, he said the same thing to the reporters here locally a year ago, 11 months ago. He said it in May when he finished second and runner-up voting to LeBron James last year. So it's not a new quote, but, I look forward to reading the entire piece because it looks like a fantastic profile that's going to be in Sports Illustrated. But, just from hearing him having said it earlier, last year, I feel like, it's motivation. It's been motivation for him, and he wants to be the best player in basketball. He wants to be on the best team in basketball. That's what drives him at this point, and you got to tip your hat to him because, as great as he is, he's not settling. He wants to continue to get better. He wants his team to continue to get better, and that's all that he cares about. That's what's driving him.
You're listening to Thunder Cover, newsok.com, and the Oklahomans' Darnell Mayberry at the peak right now. You mentioned he wants to be the best in the NBA. We talked about this Monday. Since maybe January, February, is he the best player on his team? Russell Westbrook, just 2 rebounds the other night, shy of a triple-double. Do you expect him to continue this outstanding play tonight?
No doubt about it. Guys, do you know of any player on the Rockets that can come close to guarding Russell Westbrook?
No.
Nope.
I mean,
I don't know.
One guy who can. Go ahead.
I was going to say, name me one guy in the NBA. I mean, that's a very, very short list of guys that can slow down Russell Westbrook.
Russell's been fantastic, guys. I mean, the pressure that he puts on defenses, I don't understand why anybody out there is counting shot attempts. Kevin Durant is still, he's a close second to leading the league in scoring, so he's getting his points regardless of how many shots he takes. And Russell Westbrook just puts so much pressure on defenses, and he's such a nightmare matchup problem. Guys, I walk in opposing locker rooms, whether at home or on the road, and I can't tell you how many times I see in big all-cap letters that say, contain Russell Westbrook. He's the guy who is basically the focal point of the opposing team's defense. You don't see anything about Kevin Durant. You don't see much about Kevin Durant on the board. You see contain Westbrook. And, that just speaks volumes to how good he is and just what a nightmare he is as a matchup.
Contain Westbrook. Easier said than done. I don't think that, not many teams have been able to find a way to do that. What are your main keys tonight for this Oklahoma City Thunder team, offensively, defensively?
Offensively, I'd like to see them basically move the ball, get everyone involved. Don't settle for one-on-one play and trying to be the hero. Try to get everyone involved. Try to get Serge Ibaka back to that 17-point mark. Try to get Perk some easy dunks and Thabo Sefolosha some corner threes. So if they do that, they're tough to guard. If they let their defense lead to offense, they're impossible to guard. So if they can do those two things to generate some offense, they're going to be in great shape. But defensively, some of the same things I talked about. Guard the three-point line, get back in transition, and clog the paint, make them play in a crowd. Those are the keys defensively. And if the Rockets have to play against all three of those, I don't think that they're going to have much success.
Anyone outside the usual suspects, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Ibaka, anyone outside of those three you see possibly having a big game tonight?
Keep an eye on Kevin Martin. I think he was 5 of 15 in game one. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he provided some nice hustle plays, some rebounding, a block shot. He really mixed it up down low. You don't really see that out of him very often, but I don't think he wants to do that. I don't think he wants to continue to play in this league doing that. So I think he's going to get back to making some shots tonight, and I anticipate him having a big game. He might not put up 20 points, but that 15-point mark is sort of the barometer for him. It kind of illustrates whether or not he has a good game shooting or not. So look for Kevin Martin to get his shot back tonight.
Loved what you said right there, Darnell, about sharing the basketball, a key to this game. We talked I can't remember the number, but it's a super high winning percentage. When five got a Thunder scoring double digits, they win a really high percentage. You had 4 the other night, but then you had Derek Fisher with 9, you had Thabo with 9, you had Reggie Jackson with 8, so you had other guys right there on the cusp. I think getting everybody involved, a real key tonight. And I wanted to mention this, too, when we were talking Russell Westbrook. A thing that doesn't show up in the stat sheet that I took from the game the other night, there was a couple questionable calls. One, he's right at about the elbow. I thought it should have been an and one. They call an offensive foul. Russ lowers his head. He walks back over to the bench. Typical Russ Westbrook. We're expecting meltdown mode. We're expecting it to take him out of his game. Didn't do that. I don't know if it's maturity, the fact that it's only game one and they're winning it handily, but I like that out of Russell Westbrook. Seemed cool, calm, and kept his composure.
He's grown so much. It's impressive to see because that's going to be a big key as these playoffs continue and the stakes get higher. If he can continue to keep a cool head it's going to, I think, trickle down to his teammates, and they're going to understand that, he's in control. He's the floor leader, and it can just do wonders for his team if he can continue to just play within himself and not let his emotions get the best of him.
Darnell, I got a 112-99 Oklahoma City Thunder victory. I think they pull away at the end. What do you see it tonight?
I don't think I'm with you. I don't think it'll be as wide a margin as it was Sunday. But I do see, 10 or more, somewhere around that 10-point range. You're at 13, so I'm right there with you. 10 to 12, I think, and the Thunder basically takes care of business. I don't think that this will be a game where the Rockets will ever really threaten, especially in the second half. So it should be another big-time win for the Thunder.
I got the Thunder by 109-101.
109-101. Well, enjoy it. Always a pleasure, man. Love it. This is Thunder Cover with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans. Darnell Mayberry. Nobody talks about him, covers him as well as Darnell, man. Enjoy the game. We'll talk Friday.
All right, guys.
30 minutes past the hour. It's Wednesday. Hump Day, as Jerry Schmidt would always say to us, in the stretch line. I didn't do it quite as well as him, though. Hump Day.
No, you're kind of holding back.
I know. I don't
want
want
on radio. You got to yell it out there, and you can't do that right now.
Quick break from right here in Pauls Valley. Seth Wadley Ford, Oklahoma's Ford Truck King, I-35 at exit 72. You're listening to The Rush, Sports Talk Network.